Hey, hey, welcome everybody to the DBC Inc. Facebook Live Thursday. We're so happy that you joined us. As you're popping in here, be sure to hop over there into the comments. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and all those comments you're going to be entered to win a prize. And tonight's prize is the absolutely an incredible Teach, Play, Learn. And the reason this is the prize tonight is because we have a special guest with us, and that is Adam Peterson. Adam, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Excited to be here. I can't wait to see what you have in store for us. And I know it's going to be awesome and amazing. So very cool. And so, Adam, tell us where you're located at, and maybe give us a little background on what you're doing right now.
Yeah, times are crazy right now, to say the least. And thanks for the compliment on the book too, man. It's been a blast watching it spread out there to the masses. But so I'm in Illinois. It's freezing here right now, but we're not getting hit with the snow like the East Coast. It's just super cold. About an hour outside of Chicago, so I would say we're close enough to go have fun to the city, but far enough to stay away from the city if we want to. And currently, I'm doing a lot of different things. So those of you that have read the book or followed me, you know that I stepped out of the classroom a few years ago to do consulting full time. In the past few years, that was awesome until COVID hit, and then consulting kind of fell apart, and all the contracts I had with schools that I was going to kind of went on the wayside for now. So I was still busy doing some virtual stuff and working with some other ed tech companies that I work with. And last year was still kind of helping with my wife with her classroom. That's not an option this year because I can't go in the building. They're not allowing visitors. And in the fall, when all conferences were kind of getting canceled, like I had all these things planned and they were like, no, not going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen. I was like, I got to do something. And I miss teaching so much. I don't miss I'm not going to lie. Like I don't miss the 9 to 5 of teaching or the, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. of teaching. But I miss the kids. And in our area, a lot of preschools weren't opening their doors this year, either because of restrictions or because they just weren't getting numbers. Like parents weren't comfortable to send their kids back. So I had friends reaching out to me saying, what do you know in the area? I know teaching kindergarten, you knew a lot of schools in the area. Who's the best to go to? And I was like, well, I don't know if they're open. So long story short, a good friend of mine rents a building in our little boutique kind of downtown area where she does private practice speech and language therapy. And I went to her and I said, hey, there's got to be something here for the little ones in our area. What can we do? And she at that meeting, she's like, well, you could use this space as a classroom and this space as an office. And I was like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? And she's like, you could set up a private practice. So in September, I launched that, and it's been insanely cool so far. I've got 10 little kids that I'm servicing in person, 2 remote that I'm working with from across the country right now. But in person, I've got little ones coming to me in groups of 2 or 3 or one-on-one. And we're targeting skills that they need to work on. Or like I've got a group of 3-year-olds, these 2 little girls that come with me every Friday, and we're just learning through play and social language groups. And it's been a blast. So I've been super busy teaching again, and I love it. It's been an awesome change of events, but it's been great.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And you were mentioning something to me about a little out of the country action, and a student you were working with. Maybe like let us know what's going down with that.
Yeah, so I connected with this company called Hivemind. Hivemind is an organization started by a group of parents, actually, who were looking for some online quality education. And I got connected through mutual friends of ours and this online group of educators, which just fascinates me that there's that out there. That this network can connect people across the country and then around the world. And through this organization, I'm doing one-on-one lessons daily with a couple students. I've got a 4-year-old little boy that I work with in New York City every single day. And then I've got a 6-year-old little boy who I'm working with in Barbados right now. He's actually, his family, due to work situations, is living on the island of Barbados. And I get to chat with him every day. And I told you it was kind of funny. He was complaining about the heat. And I'm saying, it's freezing cold here, man. And then one day, the first day we met, he said, oh my gosh, it's so noisy right now, Mr. Adam. And I said, what's going on, buddy? And he goes, the monkeys outside just won't stop making noise. I'm like, I can't say that I feel bad for you, buddy. That sounds pretty awesome. But yeah, so we're doing like my own kind of structured first grade curriculum with him. That's the cool part about it is this company is like reaches out to educators who know what they're doing and trust us to do what we're doing. So I get to teach in my own way, which which is what I've always wanted to do. I want to teach the way that I know works and teach what can work with little ones and just make it as fun as possible. And we get to do that every day.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, I want to say hi to Lisa, who's jumped in here. Lisa, I believe you are the winner from last time, possibly. I think I saw that prize arrive to you on social media. Thanks for posting your prize coming in. And we have Jamie Brown from New Jersey is in here. I have a feeling that you might be getting rocked with some snow and some pretty interesting weather right now. Maybe let us know if that's true. And let's see, I think Lisa is in Wisconsin, so I'm guessing it's probably not too warm there either.
Oh, no.
I feel kind of bad here in San Diego, and I was walking the dogs last night, and I had on a beanie and like a hoodie, and it was like thinking, oh my gosh, it's like freezing out. I looked at my app, and it was like 56 degrees at nighttime. I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't post this on social media that I'm freezing with my dogs. It just create a lot of hate. Jenny has popped in. And from Missouri, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, I think that they probably all would have been laughing at me and my beanie in 56 degrees. But hey, it's the bald head. It's the bald head. I think that's what it was right there. I just Tara even popped in to say hello from her vacation. So if you're wondering where Tara is tonight, DBC, occasionally we're nice enough to give people days off. And so Tara has a few days off strung together right now. And so I'm taking over her duties for the evening. And I see Chris Peterson just popped in. Hello there. Thanks for joining us.
My mom just popped in.
Is that Chris?
That's my mom. Yeah, Chris.
Right on. You see, that's always good when you know that you're going to have at least one person tune in when you can get your mom to tune in. Right. In 2021, I'm starting up a podcast, and I'm definitely going to give the link to my mom just to make sure I get one download. Mom, I want you to download it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and I just want you to kind of just move around a lot, make comments, do things like that, and make it seem like a lot of people are listening.
That's the way to do it. Family first. Reach out.
Absolutely. So, Adam, one of the things we do here on Thursday night is we like to give people strategies, things they can do, super practical takeaways that they can do in an anywhere learning setting, because we know all kinds of people are in different spaces right now. And so take it away. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm so excited this is happening right now because I've had the experience lately with this. I got to teach again, which I had to wear. I wore this shirt to school today with the mock quote from Elf. I just like to teach. Teaching is my favorite. And it's so true because I got to do that again this year. And luckily, I'm doing some of that virtually. I know some people don't like that. And I'm not saying it's my favorite way to teach, but I get to do strategies every single day in a way that I have to be as engaging as possible because I'm thousands of miles away, one-on-one with a little kid on the screen, and I'm all he's got. It's me or nothing, and I lose them. So I've tried to adapt things I've seen. I've tried to adapt things I've seen other teachers doing. I've tried to adapt some games that I put in the book as well to make them work as virtual as possible. But I did one today with this little guy, and my little 6-year-old that I work with is one who needs a ton of engagement. I mean, he's there and he loves it every day. He's like, "Hi, Mr. Adam." He wrote me a little note the other day, said, "I heart Adam." He loves learning, but trying to keep a 6-year-old engaged over a screen is pretty near impossible sometimes if he has other distractions going, especially when he's living on an island, right? So I've been trying to take everything we're doing. We're working on sight words. We're working on sounds. We're working on putting letters together to make words. And I've tried to make that as fun as possible. So there's a few ideas I've done with him that I think can work with any grade level. You just adapt the content. And I know, Dave, and a lot of people that have read the book know that that's what the whole book is about too, is just taking what you have to teach and just putting a spin on it or a twist on it. And really that's all I've done. I haven't really created anything new for him. I'm teaching things I've taught before. We're just doing it in a really, really fun way. So one thing we're working on every single day are practicing sight words with him and really getting to understand that these letters make this word. Let's practice reading it. And I made a video about this recently, and I wish I could give credit to the person I saw it to. I always love to give credit where credit is due, but I cannot remember who this teacher was that posted this on Instagram. But I adapted it and I called it rock, paper, sight words. So it's using the classic game of rock, paper, scissors, but you're doing it with the words you're working on. So this little boy and I have been working on the word was, right? For example. So what we do is we put the word on the screen, and I'm just sharing like a PowerPoint slide with him with a list of words on each slide. And actually, shout out to my friend Didi Wills. Her curriculum is called Not Your Mother's Sight Words. That's the curriculum I'm using to teach these. So if you're a TPT person or you love looking at content that's out there, just look up Not Your Mother's Sight Words, the whole package from my friend Dee Wills. And that's what I'm using. And it's a daily review of just skill and drill sight words, which can be tedious sometimes for little ones, especially in a virtual space. So we took this idea of this game and tied it into that I was doing with him already. So the word was shows up on the screen and we say, all right, buddy, was, W-A-S, let's go. And we do it together. So we do W-A-S and then we shoot on was. So it'd be W-A-S was and rock, paper, scissors. And then we just play teacher versus student. So I get a tally mark if I win, he gets a tally mark if he wins. And we play to 10, we play to 5, you play to whatever you need to play to. You play for the number of words you're covering, and it works just as well in person. So in my learning space that I have in my classroom set up downtown here, I had a little boy I was seeing one-on-one today, a first grader. We're working just on reading, and we did that to practice a daily review. And we got to sit, across the table from each other, masks on, but we were shooting sight words to each other and tally marking on a marker board. And he like lives for that. Every day he comes to see me, he's like, we're gonna do rock, paper, sight words. We're gonna do rock, paper, sight words. And it's been so much fun. So I was thinking, I'm like, I know all these people aren't pre-K and K teachers that watch this. So think of other things you could be doing. Maybe it's, vocab words that you're spelling or math facts that you're doing. 2 + 2 is 4. And you shoot on the answer. Whatever it is that you're working on could easily be done. I know when I put the video up, a teacher commented on it and said, I'm going to use it to my own kids at home to review what they're working on. And some other teachers said, we are in person and I can't wait to do it and have them play, from desk to desk against their partner. And just, you have multiple sets of kids playing this game at the same time. So easy way to practice some skills.
Yeah, I love that. And what's super cool about that, not only is it fun, not only is it engaging, it's got some competition involved in it, right? So it's super cool. They get a little energy, adrenaline rush, right, as they're playing. And it's a perfect example of a strategy that's anywhere, right? What you said, it can be virtual, it could be face-to-face. And it's interactive without including touching.
Yeah.
You could be a distance away and still do that. And you don't have to have the kids getting close up, and you can still keep your social distancing and all that kind of stuff like that. So I think that's a beautiful strategy, and I think you're right that it can be applied in many other areas than just sight words. And like you said, certainly the math facts. And I could think of ways that would be fun to use even as a high school teacher. I can think of ways that would be fun to use. I think the kids would have a blast with it. That's one of the things I always try to convince people is, I've told people this before, Adam, is that sometimes what I think what I do is I get paid to travel around and convince people to teach more like a kindergarten teacher.
Right.
Because in kindergarten, there's already such this emphasis on social interaction and on hands-on learning and fun and music and art and creativity, all these different things. And part of my job is to convince other teachers outside of kindergarten that those things are applicable and wonderful everywhere else. And some people are surprised at the high school thing. It's like, I can't believe that you use Play-Doh in high school. I say, no, you don't understand. You know how long it's been since they played with Play-Doh? Like, they eat this stuff up. In some ways, it's even more effective when you use these strategies at the higher grade levels in high school, middle school, high school, because it's been so long. They're like starved for this kind of interaction and this kind of creativity and hands-on learning.
Well, we talk about that in the book too. I think I quoted or put a paragraph in there when we were talking about the game Candyland in the book, how a high school science teacher friend of mine adapted my idea of Candyland, where I just put letters and numbers and sight words on Candyland cards to practice. And she was putting symbols for the periodic table of elements on cards. And I always tell people, like, imagine walking into a high school science class and seeing kids playing Candyland and more engaged than ever before. So totally. And now I'm thinking like rock, paper, scissors could be that too. Like spell out the symbol for the element and then have to name the element when you shoot it. So totally could be done in so many ways. I'm so glad you mentioned Play-Doh. I love Play-Doh. My kids love Play-Doh. I was actually going through stuff today, cleaning. I found our big old Play-Doh cookie cutters to take to my classroom tomorrow with my kiddos for our Christmas party. And my little ones that I work with, I have a group of 3 5-year-olds that I see every Monday and Friday. They're 3 cousins who spend all day together at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and then they come see me for an hour. And every single day they come, they're like, "Can we do Play-Doh? Can we do Play-Doh? Can we do Play-Doh?" So I think I put a picture on Instagram recently of this. They love 2 things in my little classroom. My classroom's a small like office, but we make it as fun as possible. And the 2 things they go to every single time we're there are the kitchen set and the Play-Doh. and we're working on not sharing as many toys as possible. Like, so we're not spreading, but these are cousins, so they're together all day anyway. And they've been making things in the kitchen out of play food and then putting them on the table. And then they're making Play-Doh letters to like label what they've made. And these are just, 4 and 5-year-olds. And so they made a pizza in the play kitchen, and they cut a P out of Play-Doh and set it next to it to label it P for pizza. So Play-Doh, yeah, I'm glad you're using it in high school. I love that you mentioned that in high school. And I remember, it's funny you mentioned that you love to tell people to teach, you think that you teach like a kindergarten teacher. And I'll never forget the first time I saw you speak. It was actually, I posted a picture on your birthday last week of when I met you in Peoria at the Illinois Reading Conference. And you were talking about, I think it was a unit you did with the westward expansion, and you like took the kids on a field trip around the school or something. And hearing you talk about that, I'm like, wait a minute, what does this guy teach? He's a high school teacher? Like,
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
that is
so for those of you that are watching, first of all, we've gone international yet again. Karen from Australia has popped in. Thank you, Karen. Monica is here. The sketch note artist extraordinaire, Monica Spillman, has popped in here, right? And thanks for everyone who's popping into the comments. Remember, if you leave a comment over on the side, you're entered to win Adam's book, Teach, Play, Learn. We'll just put this into a package and ship it off to you. So we're going to choose someone later, either tonight or tomorrow morning from the comment stream, just randomly, to win Teach, Play, Learn, which is just packed and filled with all sorts of strategies for anywhere learning and really incorporating play in a meaningful way into the classroom. So you're going to love this book if you haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. I also put the link, the Amazon link, in the comment notes if you want to take a look at Adam's book. So those of you that have read Teach Like a Pirate, my opening day activity with 16, 17-year-old kids, high school is Play-Doh. It's my first activity I do with kids. And they open up a can of Play-Doh, and they have a little paper plate in front of them, and they create and make something that's somehow representative of themselves that they're going to share with the class. And so the very first thing you do in my class is you don't memorize some historical fact. You don't do anything. You don't get out your textbook. You put your hands into Play-Doh and make and create. And I want that to be kind of the opening theme of the class. We are makers. We are creators, right? We're not just memorizers. We're not just consumers of information. We make things. We create things in here. And so they make something, and then they also get a chance. I walk around and interact with them. I get to talk to every single kid on the first day of school doing this because I get to stand by them while they're making their Play-Doh, ask them what they're doing with it, all that kind of stuff. And then they get to introduce themselves to the class with my help, and we get to learn a little bit about them. Some of that information I learned on that first day that they share, I use it for the rest of the year.
Right.
They might say, someone says something that they're into, and then later when that comes up, 3 months later in the classroom, oh, you know what? Remember, Tamara? I remember on the first day of school, you told us that you were into ballet or whatever it might be, right? And, so it's play, creativity, art, all these things are great ways to build relationships and rapport with kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you do that day one. Like that's one of my favorite. And here's the thing I love about that too is I get kids all the time. They're like, yeah, my mom doesn't let me play Play-Doh at home. There's a lot of parents that don't. Like, they don't want that in the carpet. So that some kids, that's like their only chance they get to model that fun stuff, right? So, and I'm a huge proponent of homemade Play-Doh too. We make homemade Play-Doh with different scents in it for sensory units and all that. So it's cool. I saw someone comment that they're using Candyland chutes and ladders. Amazing. Those are things that are all inside the book as well.
Awesome. Yep. Fantastic. And so, Adam, I don't know if you have any other ones you want to share with us, or if you have any thoughts that you want to give us about teachers out there right now finishing up the 2020, about ready to head into break. Any advice you have for them, or sympathy, or anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I wish I could offer all. I wish I had a magic button to push to make it all better for you all right now. But one more idea, and then I've got a piece of advice. So the other idea I just did today for the first time with my little guy, and I could tell. So where he's at in Barbados, he's 2 hours ahead. So he was done for the day. I think his family had already eaten dinner. He was not ready to have school, right? So I wanted to get him up and move around. He's a busy little boy anyway, but he loves our session. So like I said, we're working on letter sounds and really not so much identifying letter and sound with him. And again, this is something you could adapt. But we did, I love minute to win it timers on YouTube. If you just YouTube minute to win it timers, you can find so many different options out there. And there's actually some Christmas ones right now too. And it's so fun because it actually counts down like on the actual game. Minutes it'll go, the game begins in 3, 2, 1, and then it starts this timer. So what I did was I said, all right, buddy, instead of just, recognizing letters and saying the sound today, you're going to go on a scavenger hunt around your house. and you can find anything you want as long as it starts with the letter sound that I give you. And I didn't give him a letter, I gave him a sound because that's really the skill he's working on. So I said, all right, first one, buddy, you got to go. It's a vowel. It's got 2 sounds, A or A. And I didn't even ask him if he got it. I said, A or A, go. And I had my screen shared with him. So I clicked play and the timer started going and I see him just bolt away from the screen. And he comes back and he's got an apple in his hand. He goes, I found this apple that starts with A, apple. And he was doing all the little cues that we had done every lesson we've done. So scavenger hunts are a fun way to keep your kids engaged. I know my son last year when he was in 3rd grade in the spring when virtual learning had just started, his teacher, I was on a Facebook Live, I think, and I see him run past me again. And when I was done, I was like, what were you doing, buddy? He goes, Mrs. Bruin told us we had 20 seconds to find a noun that had 3 syllables. And I was like, well, what an amazing way to practice those skills for a 3rd grader. You know, they're working on syllables, they're working on nouns, trying to find things, and he had so much fun with it. So that kind of inspired me to want to try this, and it went over so well.
Yeah, that is super fun. I love the kinesthetic aspect of that, getting kids up and moving. And it's something that I've seen a lot of teachers complaining about, that they can't do some of the kinesthetic stuff because the kids are remote and on Zoom. And there's an example of ways that you can do that. You can incorporate this. And in fact, since they're all maybe in their different locations, maybe in some ways it might even be easier because they're not, all, you don't have 25 kids running down the hallway creating some big scene. Right. At school, right? And so that's super fun. I wrote a blog post, maybe it's probably a year ago. I did a guest post for Go Noodle, who of course are big into incorporating movement in the classroom. And it was about the fact that for a lot of kids, school is like sitting in the middle seat on an airplane for a cross-country flight.
Right.
And with the people on both sides of you falling asleep, so you can't move, and you're just stuck in this seat. And if you think about how long some kids are in their seats in school, I mean, we wouldn't stand for it, and it would drive us crazy, let alone some young kid, right, who wants to get up and move and is like just coming out of their skin. And so that's why I love the incorporating as much movement and kinesthetic activities as possible. I love that example.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm having so much fun with it. And I got to say, too, there's something I'd love for y'all to give me a follow on social media. I've got something new coming in January with a company that is near and dear to my heart. They're called Alive Studios, and we're launching an online learning platform for kids 3 to 5 where I get to live teach. So like kids, if you have kids that you know or kids of your own who are looking for an engaging way to learn half hour at a time with live lessons, I'm going to be doing something with that where we do a lot of movement in those activities too. And I'm super stoked to get it going. So we did a pilot class this past week with 7 kiddos from all around the country. And it was so much fun. We had a blast, and they're going to be launching that throughout school here in January. And I get to be their lead teacher. So I'm stoked.
That's super cool. Yeah. And so Karen said that, by the way, in the comments over here, I see that she started the year with TLAP Play-Doh activity. Thank you, Karen, for shouting that out.
That's awesome.
And Lisa is complimenting the scavenger hunt ideas and all that. And we have Monica mentioning how incredible that mute button can be.
Good.
So, but maybe that could be one of the few things that teachers miss about the pandemic.
Right. That's true.
When they go full-time face-to-face, it's like, what happened to my mute button? I thought.
Yeah. You know what, though? I saw the best comment the other day from a friend of mine. She's a kindergarten teacher, and she teaches a school that just recently went remote because they had a bunch of staff members sick, and they couldn't get enough subs. I mean, the schools stayed open. Our school, where my kids go, has stayed open all year. We've been so lucky and fortunate that they're taking the protocols they are to make it safe. But her school just closed, and she posted a comment that said, I was really, I was hating the fact that we're having to go remote, and I was despising having to sit in front of the computer with my kids. But she goes, the best part about it is I get to see their smiles again. And I thought that was a really touching moment, was to think about, yes, this is not where you want to be. It's not the most ideal situation. You'd love to be in person. But she saw the silver lining that I get to see them smile, because in school we can't behind a mask. And that kind of touched my heart as a kindergarten teacher. And I'm like, imagine if we all thought that way, right? Like just try to find that silver lining. And listen, I'm not trying to preach to any teachers out there, because I am not in your shoes being in a full-time classroom. My wife is, so I know how hard it is right now for you guys. I guess my one piece of advice is this: just know that this is where you're supposed to be. I've been telling teachers this in a keynote that I do all year long, that I believe in 2 types of teachers. People always talk about, there are good teachers and there are bad teachers. And I don't think that's true. I think there are good teachers, or teachers And then I think there were people who weren't meant to be teachers, who kind of walked into this profession and maybe it's not really where they're supposed to be. And I tell people, and maybe this rubs people the wrong way, but I always say, let's be honest. The people who are meant to be teachers are still teaching. The people who were not meant to be teachers bailed when it got hard in the spring, right? Like those of you that are still in this right now, you were meant to be an educator. If you weren't, there is no way you would be working as hard as you are right now through everything the world is going through in education. So I encourage you and urge you to remember that every single day, whether you're logging into a meeting or you're putting on your mask and going to school or you're dealing with things that you've never dealt with before, just know that it's going to pass and you're where you were meant to be if you're still being a teacher today. And just own that. Own it as much as you can.
That's a wonderful message. So much love and respect for teachers out there who are just, having the most overwhelming year of their careers. That's what I hear from everyone. It's like, you know what this year is? It's overwhelming. That's what it is. And, but yeah, that's a fantastic message, Adam. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much to everyone in the comments as well. We really appreciate you being here and watching tonight. All of you are entered to win Adam's amazing book, Teach, Play, Learn. How about that cover, right? Pops
I was excited about that.
Yeah. And so that's Adam's manifesto about incorporating play in the classroom. And so I know that's a book that you would absolutely love, especially just based on the comments I'm seeing in the chat. You would absolutely love this book. Now Canada has even popped in, I noticed, but this puts a lot of pressure and anxiety around me because I struggle saying this name. And here we go again. So I'm going to say like Nicole. And I know that's not going to be, I know I'm going to get a lesson later about how I didn't say that right, but I'm trying my best. Okay. But so thank you for popping in all the way from Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I know you're freezing in Winnipeg.
Right.
For sure. So thank you for thawing out enough to join us on the Facebook Live. Adam, as we're wrapping up here, I know people are going to want to connect with you and be able to follow you and pick up on all these tips. Where are the best places for people to go to connect with Adam Peterson?
Well, thank you. And Nicole, that's you say, it says she just got the book. That's awesome. Thank you. Instagram and Twitter, it's at Teachers Learn 2, the number 2. That's only because TOO was taken when I started my YouTube channel years ago, and it was going to cost me way too much to buy that domain. So it's Teachers Learn 2, the number 2 on Instagram and Twitter. teacherslearn2.com will link you straight to my YouTube channel where I post videos for all of you out there, just quick ideas for the classroom. And then on Facebook, it's just Adam Peterson Education. And my main website is adampetersoneducation.com where you can reach out and follow me. I'd love to see a follow. And here's what I always tell people, like, I'm not a big guy that's about growing numbers on social media other than the fact that I love to see what's going on in your classrooms. And that's what I love about networks like this is we get to see what's happening all around the world in classrooms. So I'd love to see a follow so I could follow you back and see what's happening in your classroom and follow along with your education journey as well.
That's fantastic. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Jenny, thanks for joining in. I see a birthday. I hope I had a good birthday, Dave. I did have a good birthday Saturday. As you could tell, I look a little older on this Facebook Live than on any previous Facebook Live. And so I turned, get ready for it, wait for it. I turned 54 years old this weekend. And Adam, one final thing here. One of the things that is a bummer for me about this pandemic in 2020 was I was really looking forward to the chance to go to the spring teacher retreat. Yeah. And we were going to be there, and so many great educators were going to be there. We were going to get a chance to hang out. And that, of course, went the way of all conferences in 2020 or face-to-face ones. And so hopefully 2021, we'll get this vaccine rolling. We'll be able to get out there and start to meet face-to-face again and connect with educators. And, the virtual conferences have been great. There's a Ditch Summit going on right now. Make sure you get involved in that if you're not involved in it. But wow, just to be in the same space with a bunch of people who are energetic, enthusiastic, and just want to lift up this profession and that energy. I miss it. I can't wait to get back to it. So hopefully I'll see you somewhere on the road in 2021.
I hope so too, man. Yeah, I feel the same way. I miss speaking so much. There's something different about being in front of a room of people than a Zoom room. Like you saw me speak with my hands. Like it's so hard, and I know you know this too, to sit here and talk and not get up and walk around and interact with the audience. So No, I missed that as well, man, and I was looking forward to meeting you again in person. But yes, 2021, we will be on the road somewhere. I know it. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Adam, thank you for joining and sharing so many cool ideas with us. I know teachers are going to love using those in their classrooms, whether it's remote or face to face. And we'll see you. Let's see. Next week, we might not be next week because of the dates. We'll see. We'll see what next week is going to happen or not. But make sure to tune in for the next time for our Facebook Live, DBC Inc. We love all you out there, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Dave.